Now you're crossing the line with this video today, Miss Betty. Toot toot beat beat Betty. Goddamn. Leave Riri out of this. Well, hello there, love bugs. Hello there, Bellas. If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share the Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. I know you like, Nate, what the fuck is that on your head? A do-rag? I'm in a do-rag kind of mood today. And if you are not already a part of this book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes, you can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, whoa, let's continue reading Bettye LaVette's A Woman Like Me with David Ritz. Other men who were not magnificent artists also led us to believe that they could help our careers. Ray Scott was the one such man. He was a comic and sometimes singer who became obsessed with me. His comedy was modeled after Red Fox. He wasn't as funny as Red, but funny enough to gig at the Baby Grand, which is where I met him. His true talent was pimping. Ray had a fleet of white girls working for him. He was a dog, but a super cool, slick New York dog. He had a boatload of high-octane cocaine that he was always coaxing me to try. But his coaxing didn't stop with drugs. Ray was salacious. He loved whispering to me, "Why don't you do him?" Or, "Why don't you do both those guys?" Girl, one time she was in there feeling good, drunk and off the Booga Sugah. Ray was like, "Ooh, look at her. Don't she look good? She fine as shit." Ooh, it was somebody's wife. Eventually, toot beat Betty and somebody's wife ended up in the bedroom, bumping pocketbooks and losing change. You hear me? Oh my goodness. That opened up a whole new can of worms for her. I remember the night I had gone to the Apollo to see my friend, the Majors, the group produced by Jerry Ragavoy. They had a little hit called A Wonderful Dream. One of the Majors introduced me to his girlfriend, Cynthia. Okay, that's who she was bumping pocketbooks with. Cynthia Wharton, a stunning woman. I was getting ready to hang out at the Baby Grand and suggested everyone join me. The Majors were too tired, but Cynthia, whom I called Cindy, came along. Ray Scott was at the club, and the minute he saw Cindy, he said, "You should fuck her." I laughed off the remark, but the thought stayed with me. The provocation of the pimp who began giving money to both Cindy and me fueled my motivation. Those pimps loved to watch girls have sex. They also loved jumping into bed with two women. Had Ray not insisted on it and stoked the fire with copious amounts of cocaine, none of this might have happened. But it did. I liked it well enough that Cindy was in my life for the next 30 years. Bettye LaVette, you still for that lady? Is she still alive? My dalliances with women just sort of happened. I never had hang-ups about sex, an area where I felt fortunately free. The friendship with Cindy, though, remained strong, and she and I had some wild adventures. I booger bet Ted White was the coolest. And when he called to say he and Ree were in New York and he wanted to see me, I eagerly went to their suite at the Americana Hotel. The three of us spent the afternoon blowing cocaine. Nigga, you say what? What did you just say to me, girl? Okay, I'ma reread that for those of you who are not believers. I eagerly went to their suite at the Americana Hotel. The three of us spent the afternoon blowing cocaine. You trying to tell me that my Riri was doing the Booga Sugah? Is that what you trying to tell me? Because everything that I have read or saw about Riri limits her to smoking cigarettes and being a drunky poo. Nowhere, nothing about the Booga Sugah. Ted's cocaine. I rarely carried drugs. I never had to. They were usually extended to me by generous hosts and suitors. I have no idea whether Aretha knew that Ted and I occasionally had sex. Given how close I was to him, she may have assumed so. On the other hand, Ted may have kept her in the dark. Either way, we didn't have problems getting high together and shooting a breeze. With Ted present, Aretha let him do all the talking. He told me how Jerry Wexler at Atlantic had offered Aretha a contract. They were frustrated with her current label, Columbia. Now remember, her father, CL Smoothie is what we call him. He wanted Reed to be on Columbia because he saw his daughter Aretha as the black Barbra Streisand. And at the time, Columbia was doing wonders for Barbra Streisand's career. So CL thought that Columbia could do the same thing for his daughter. Answer no. And it's so funny how black female singers on certain statuses want to equate their career with Barbra Streisand. Because remember, Diana Ross wanted to be the black Barbra Streisand also. Or that is what Berta Gordy was aiming to do. They were frustrated with her current label, Columbia, because she had not enjoyed any major hits. He thought that Wexler had a good understanding of singers like me and Aretha. Well, I said, Aretha will tell you that we're not all that much alike. Aretha is church, and I ran from the church. Besides, her church is Baptist, and mine was Catholic. Okay, that does make a big difference, because the Catholics and I, myself went to a Catholic private school, and I know this for sure. Okay, I ain't talking about what I heard. I'm talking about what I done. But I can appreciate a church that get me in and out in an hour. Yeah, you be up, down the whole entire time. And believe me, I can do the rosary like that. You're both rhythm and blues singers who can sing anything, said Ted. The challenge is to find what that anything is. Look at what Wexler did for Otis and Wilson Pickett. That's right, I said. But look what Aretha did on that Skylark song she cut for Columbia. She killed it. Thanks, said Aretha, who was not inclined to disagree with anything her husband said. Aretha was comfortable with me, not only because she saw me as a colleague, but because she knew I had hung with her sister Irma. For years, Aretha's baby sister, Carolyn, and brother Cecil shared the same drug dealer with me. Well, first of all, we know that baby, Carolyn, like the ladies. Toot toot beep beep, were you one of the ladies? Did y'all get together? Did y'all see the same drug dealer and then, got together? I had said in the previous video that because Irma, that's the older sister, was hanging out with Esther Phillips, was she getting down with the get down? Okay? She didn't say anything about Irma doing the drugs, so we can assume that Irma was the clean and sober one. They were more extroverted than Aretha, who in those days was the quiet one. Even high, she was shy. I asked her about some records. Damn, toot toot beep beep. How you just want to throw Riri under the bus like that, girl? Ooh, you bitch, you. Ooh, she is a bitch. Even high, she was shy. I asked her about some records she had made with Clyde Otis, like Running Out of Fools. All she said was that she enjoyed working with Clyde and thought he was a good writer. I remember that Jim Lewis had told me that Otis had produced Sarah Vaughan's only pop hit, Broken Hearted Melody. He'd also been responsible for the smash duets with Dinah Washington and Brooke Benton. Clyde's cool, said Ted, but a little behind the curve. We're trying to get ahead of the curve. I've been trying to do the same thing myself. I like your let me down easy, said Aretha. Thanks, I said, but it's hardly paying the rent. There was a knock at the door, room service. Ted put away the Booga Sugah and we nibbled on cheese and sipped champagne. The mood was cordial. I asked Aretha about Teddy, her son with Ted back in Detroit. Many times I'd been with Ted and Teddy. What the hell? I felt like I was part of Ted White's extended family. In those days, it was not unusual for wives of pimps to socialize with both their employees and girlfriends. What Hustle Mom Martina call them? Her sister wives or her wife-in-laws? Her wife-in-law. That's what she calls them. I think that's what she calls them. You know, when you're a part of the stable, them your wife-in-laws. But then again, Ted was unusual. He groomed women in many walks of life. He got involved in their careers and stayed involved. I heard no doubt that he could be violent, but he was never that way with me. Y'all, I watched the clip, right? And Hustle Mom Martina was talking about her time with Kenny Red. What I didn't know was that Kenny Red was a gorilla pimp. She was talking about how women were trying to warn her, don't get with Kenny Red. He beat all his bitches. But when she got with Kenny Red, she said that that wasn't their dynamic, that Kenny Red would whoop all the other girls and not me. Kenny Red would be like, you know why I don't beat Martina? Because she do what I tell her to do. She don't cause me no problems. You other bitches, I got to bang you in the head a couple of times. Hustle Martina said she was good to go until he smacked the shit out of her and she saw stars. See, that's the part of the game I ain't with. I love the Kenny Red, okay? But what I will not tolerate is nobody trying to beat me into submission. That won't happen. That won't ever happen. Now, I enjoy listening to the game. I love the ladies talking about the isms and the escapades and the funny moments they had along the way. But what I will never get with is you putting your motherfucking hands on me. I don't play that shit. Clarence Paul sent me a ticket to go home to Detroit. During that visit, Clarence had an idea for a party that he wanted to host in my blue basement bedroom. Stevie Wonder was turning 16, and Clarence was convinced it was time the boy became a man.